And now, away from election matters, the Nigerian government says more than 4.3 trillion naira worth of crude oil was stolen in 7,143 pipeline vandalism cases within a period of 5 years. It disclosed these at the Nigerian International Pipeline Technology and Security Conference in Abuja, organized by the Pipeline Professional Association of Nigeria, with the theme Bolstering Regulations, Technology and Security for Growth. In a presentation by the Nigerian Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, a federal government agency, the organization revealed that oil theft and losses in Nigeria had become a national emergency. The Executive Secretary, Neiti Ogbonnaya Orji, says oil theft was an emergency that posed serious threat to the oil exploration and exploitation with huge negative consequences on economic growth, business prospect, and profit earnings by oil companies. Nigeria's local currency, the Naira, has in the last few days appreciated against the dollar, gaining 22.13% as the dollar fell to 1,020 Naira on Friday from the peak of 1,310 Naira on Thursday last week on the black market. And street traders are already buying dollars at a rate of 950 Naira at the weekend against 1,130 Naira bought on Thursday. Speculators who have been hoarding dollars for arbitrage are now offloading the same to avoid losing money. Nigeria's external reserves rose by 0.51% to $33.39 billion at the end of October, compared to $33.22 billion recorded at the beginning of the month, according to data from the Central Bank of Nigeria. And from Lagos, I have joining me on the news Mr. Azeez Lawal, the Managing Director of TrustBanc Asset Management Limited. Glad to have you join me this morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's begin with the Forex backlog, which the government has paid. What more do we know about it? What percentage has been paid so far? And what is enough to sustain the current gains?
Yeah, thank you. That's a lot of questions in one, right? Yeah, but directly, right, by backlogs, what is popularly accepted in the financial markets is around $6.8 billion FX forward obligations that are yet to be honored by the Central Bank of Nigeria. And last week, we saw that the Central Bank made substantial strides in fulfilling a sizable portion of these backlogs. We've seen that this progress, approximately between 75 and 80% completion with certain banks, specifically international banks. It's also reported that they may have cleared up to $1 billion in total, right? So, that's so much that we've seen, and not specific reports from the CBN itself, though some international banks have confirmed receiving some of these amounts. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Azeez, the Naira strengthened to 970 Naira per dollar on the parallel market, although these has risen a bit since then. But the drop was pretty fast than some persons expected, much more than I expected. How much do we expect the Naira to gain? And what do you think will be the fair value of the Naira looking forward?
When matter of fair value of the Naira comes up, right, it's always interesting. There are different conversations and different valuation models around the fair value of the Naira. But the reality is that given that our legacy problems, given that they have not significantly improved, the fair value of the Naira is what the markets calls fair value, really, right? Though on the back of the fulfillment of some of the honoring of some of the FX forward obligations last week, we've seen that the market has reacted positively, and like you reported, the Naira got to 970 Naira, which is a very positive move, right? But then typically this is a market. You expect that as this inflows come in, when the market reacts, you also expect that some people will also still speculate on the Naira and further still push it up, right? So that's what we've seen in the last 24 hours, where the Naira also came back to around 1,100, right? So depending on how the CBN persists in honoring these obligations and putting other measures in place. Until then, the fair value of the Naira will remain what the market gives it, and possibly over an extended period of time, we expect that the Naira may possibly settle around 1,000 Naira thereabouts,
Okay.
even though the government is projecting that they want to achieve a target of around 650 to 750 thereabouts. So again,
I hear you, Azeez.
The fair value of the Naira is what the market calls its fair value, given that our major legacy problems of majorly depending on on imported products have not really changed. Thank you.
I hear you, Azeez. But beyond that, you talked about, being heavily dependent on imported goods. Now, beyond this, what other actions could give us a glimmer of hope, or optimism that the Naira would appreciate further? What do you think the government must put in place to sustain the Naira appreciating in value?
Yeah, thank you. The popular conversation that we get on the road, or we all have, is that for us to strengthen the Naira, we have to strengthen our local production. So we all have to take an audit of our personal lives and ask ourselves as Nigerians, I'm eating this. How many of it is coming from Nigeria? I'm wearing this of it. What percentage of it is made in Nigeria? But outside that, right, there's also the policy responsibility of government. I've really seen positive signals from the current administration that they have an idea of what they want to achieve, right? So talking about what other measures can be put in place to strengthen the Naira, we have seen that they have come out clearly to state that their primary responsibility, but particularly CBN government, is price stability. And they are going to go head on and directly address that, right? And we have seen that. We also saw that in some of the actions they took last week. So there were 2 OMO auctions last week. So for context, OMO auction is also you can auction OMO in a way that you can really conduct this auction in a way that you attract foreign investors, right? We have seen that at the auctions conducted last week, rates went as high as 17.98%, and that gives a yield of around 21.6% thereabout, and that's attractive enough for foreign investors. So when you give foreign investors the kind of rates they are looking for, they'll bring in FX into your country, and if FX inflows come into your country to strengthen FX liquidity and strengthen the Naira. So talking about addressing these issues and strengthening the Naira, it is one of those measures, and we have seen the CBN taking their primary role and executing that playbook, which is very good. Thank you.
Azeez Lawal, I most sincerely thank you for your expertise on the news. Thank you so much. Managing Director, TrustBanc Asset Management Limited. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.